it kind of lost that magic for me. Every time I
Yeah.
got stuck, it killed the momentum I had going, and that adds up
Mhm.
over throughout the whole playthrough.
I think that's where this game falls down for me is that it doesn't clearly outline to the player for how to
Yeah,
figure it out. And there was just a lot of times
I
where you
get
go like,
it.
"Well, this isn't fun." Yeah, and it ruins that magic. It ruins that magic when you're like, "Oh, I really
Like, would this
want to
game
figure this
still
out."
be legendary if it was released today exactly as is? Yeah.
No, it would definitely be something that would go on a like an indie shelf and people are like, "Oh, that's a neat little thing
That
you've
was a
done
fun
there." But
download
yeah,
that
uh-huh.
I will never finish.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Addison Gaming Podcast, the show where we talk about the games we want to whenever they came out, because that is what we're playing. We will talk old stuff, we'll talk new stuff, we'll talk everything in between. I am your host, Wicked Gamer UK Allen, but on this episode, you can call me the Cuckoo, the most dangerous enemy in A Link to the Past. And as always, I'm joined by the most amazing co-host in the world, Mike Maldy, aka Chris Houlihan, the top secret winner who found his way into A Link to the Past. How you doing, Mike?
Doing well. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's one of my fun facts for A Link to the Past,
Oh,
which we'll
is
get to in a
it?
minute. Yeah, absolutely.
Chris
Absolutely.
Houlihan.
Chris Houlihan. Chris
Houlihan.
Houlihan. If you're listening, Chris, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Welcome, listeners, to this episode. We are back continuing our playthrough of all the mainline Zelda games in honor of the 40th anniversary of Zelda. And we have got a special episode focused fully on our review of The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past from the Super NES. We're going to break down our thoughts on everything from the story to the dungeons to the bosses to the enemies to the combat to the items and anything else we want to talk about. Whew, that's a lot to cover. So, Mike, let's get into it. What's your overall thoughts on, I believe, your first playthrough of A Link to the Past?
Yeah. It was all right. It's not my favorite. Um, yeah, unpopular opinion, I guess, but it was old school obscure. Is that what it is? What I want to call it? Yeah,
I
old
mean,
school
that
obscure.
fits. Yeah.
It's literally like, I mean, I think I like Zelda 1 better than Link to the Past.
Okay.
Uh, I enjoyed it more. Link to the Past was really, for me, really frustrating,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't understand how anybody could beat it without a guide.
And what was it like that was frustrating for it about you? Like, just generally, before we dive into
It's
more
just
things.
like I I don't know. It was just, first of all, it was hard. Every time I went into the next screen of the overworld,
Mm-hmm.
there was like another bad guy, annoying bad guy to be. I was like, can I just explore without having to try as always run for my life? And I was like, can I just so the best part was, what is that village called? I always say karaoke village, but
Kakariko, I believe it
there we
is.
go. I'm gonna
Yeah.
call it karaoke for this
Karaoke Village.
episode. So karaoke village, I'd get
You
there.
better
I'm like,
sing for your
oh,
life. Yeah.
thank God. And I'm gonna say, okay, I'm fine. And then this one little
Mm-hmm.
bitch, she's like, oh my God, ah, and runs away and calls the guards on me. I'm like, oh great, here we go again.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so that was like my safe zone. For some reason, I could not remember where anything was, even after like getting lost 100 times. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, where's that cave with that fairy who can heal me because I have one heart left? I'm always having one heart. And
Yeah.
I don't even get to enjoy the benefits of the Master Sword because if you get too many hearts, then you have to like heal yourself a lot in order just to use the benefits of the Master Sword, with its flies, this things shoot out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really frustrating for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, the more hearts I get, the more like I have to retrieve to get my powers back. And yeah, it was I mean, it was great. Like I would say the graphics were nice. I'd say the dark and light world was a cool concept. Um, but yeah, I just, without a guide, I would have probably thrown it in the trash
Mm.
because I was so frustrated.
Uh, yeah, there's quite a lot I agree with you on there, and I think I'm trying to like come at this game from playing it just now, but it's hard not to like talk about it and its kind of importance in gaming, but also reflecting on playing it when I was a kid in the past, when I was a kid in the past, when I was a Link in the past. Um, That I'm really trying too hard for that joke right there. Sorry, I
Alan,
wrote it out.
Alan to the
Apologies,
past.
apologies, listeners, for that really bad joke. But I think that, like,
We'll
yeah,
edit it
I
out.
think you're absolutely right. Get it in post. I think that you're right. I think there's a lot about this game that is convoluted. That is it is difficult. That's one of the things that I was like, oh my gosh, this game's actually really hard. I died a lot, and
Oh my god, so much.
there was never, like, as you say, there was like you're constantly trying to like dodge and move from enemies. And I
I kept
think,
on going to the fortune teller to pay them to be like, "What do I do next?" And it would tell me
yeah.
the same thing. I'm like, "I don't know what that means."
Hmm.
And finally I figured it out because I was trying
Yeah.
to raw dog this game at first, and then after so I got to the dark world,
Yes.
like, on my own physically and
Yeah.
without any help, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore." Because at the first dungeon I went to, I kept on going around in circles, and I said, "I don't know what I'm doing," and then I
Hmm.
was like, "Give me a guide. Where's my Prima's strategy guide?"
I think, it's funny because we were texting about this game. Like, I finished it quite a while back.
You
Like,
did.
when we started this, I was like, I'm chomping through these games. Um, and when I was like, when we were texting back and forth, you're like, no, 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 I want to raw dog it. I don't want to use a guide. I was like, Mike, just use a freaking guide. Like, even back in the day when this game came out, we used guides. Like, that's how they designed it to be played. It was never meant to be this, like, you have to figure everything out. So I'm like, I wonder if you would have started just using a guide earlier on, if maybe you would have kind of liked it a little bit more. Cause
Maybe.
yeah, I
I
only used a
wish
guide
the
when I
thing
got lost and
the
I was like, what
problem
do I
with
need to do now?
guides the problem with
Yeah,
guides these days, it's exact walkthrough and tells you exactly what you need to do,
sure.
where I would much rather have, like, "Oh, where you need to go now is here, and you need to figure it out." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay." And I'm sure there's something that exists out there. I just
Yeah,
don't have the time or patience to try to figure that out or search for it because every guide I found on the internet was just like a complete 100% walkthrough.
for sure.
Um, for Zelda 1, what I really liked about Zelda 1, I know we're not talking about that this episode, but what I really liked about it is that the guide I used, I once it got me to the dungeon because I didn't know you had to blow a whistle to make the whatever sink, and then a dungeon would appear or whatever. So, but once I got into the dungeon, I didn't use the guide, and I completed all the
Yes.
dungeons in Zelda 1 on my own. So
Yeah.
that was really nice because the dungeons, for some reason, I felt like they were more intuitive there. Um,
Well, they
but
were
this,
less complex. They just
yeah,
did it didn't have the horsepower to
intuitive,
be able to have all these different levels and things like that, right?
true.
Yeah.
But also, I was going to say, in this one, there will be cracks in walls where in other Zeldas, those cracks in walls or Zelda 1, the cracks in walls, I was like, "Oh, I can put a bomb there. I know it's gonna work." This one,
Mhm.
there'd be a crack in the wall. I'm like, "Oh, that looks like I can bomb it," and I couldn't, and I was really mad about that, and it was frustrating.
Did you
So
know, and this is probably gonna piss you off, I don't know if you knew this, but one of the things that you can do in A Link to the Past is, if you hold your sword and go up to the wall, it, like, chinks into the wall,
uh-huh,
and they were just messing with the players because some of those they put those, like, cracks that, like you said, where you think you
mhm.
can bomb it, but, they deliberately put some that didn't work because you would use your sword to chink, and it would make a different sound than if it,
So it'd
like,
be like,
could be
"Dink."
bombed. So, yeah, it would have so they were like, testing people to see, like, did you really try all the tools we built into the game? But
Hmm.
I don't know if that's, I mean, I guess, right today, I find that to be really, like, poor game design. Because I was with you. I was like, why isn't this working? This is dumb. Like, don't put a signal on the screen that we've learned to understand and then, like, make it not work. It just doesn't feel fun as a gameplay mechanic. It almost just feels cheap. Um,
Yeah,
uh, yeah, I think a lot to get into and to dive deeper. But before we do that, let's do some fun facts about A Link to the Past.
alright.
You ready for these, Mike?
I'm ready to give it to me.
So yeah, the first one that I was going to talk about was the Chris Houlihan room. That's like who I noted that you were when we started. So basically, there was like a contest in Nintendo Power back in 1990 for people to like send in something. I can't remember what it was they were sending in. Anyways, they said the winner would like be able to be put in a future NES game.
Oh.
And that because of the timing of when they, did the he won and all that stuff, they just moved it over to a Super NES game, and he's basically in this room where you can access it. I can't remember how to access it. I didn't do it, but basically it's a room full of coins, and there's one of those little, like, triangles at the back that you would go and, like, push A, and it would, like, give you a story or something, or
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
talk to somebody, and it would just basically say, like, "My name is Chris Houlihan, this is my top secret room, keep it between us, okay?" So they found a way to, like, make it work, but,
I think
like,
I did find that, but I don't remember it saying Chris Houlihan. I
no,
remember
you
him
didn't,
saying, "Keep it between us."
but okay, well, maybe you did, but I don't think you did unless you would have found a guide because you have to do a lot of specific things
Well, yeah,
to
I used a
find
guide
it. It's
towards
like
the end.
but it wouldn't the guy unless your guide was telling you to find this room,
There
but
was
it's like
another
a
person that
totally
said, "Keep it between us," I think.
yeah, I think so because this was like a secret room that was like I don't think people found it for quite some time. Like they
Mm.
buried it so deep in the code. But actually, from what I've read, it was actually built in as a failsafe for if like the code messed up in the game, it would put you in this. It was like the default thing to like put them in this room and then they can get out and the code can reset or whatever like that. So,
Oh,
but there you go, Chris Houlihan. If you how cool for Chris, right?
that is
Uh,
cool.
yep.
Too bad it wasn't
Uh,
in a better game. I'm just
controversial.
kidding.
No, I love it. I think people are gonna people.
Because
I
people
can't wait
rate
to.
this like, "Oh my
I
god,
think
it's
it's
the
really good.
best, 10 out of 10." I'm like, there's like no story. Well, there is, but it's I don't know. There's these mating people and little crystal things,
It's
and
definitely riding on its nostalgia. I think I have a higher opinion of it, but
I think it's amazing for the time, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
So what works? Okay, wait, you have another fact, right?
Oh, I've got 2 more. Let me do 2
Okay,
more for
give
you.
me, gimme.
So the next one is just a bit of like Western censorship when they were pulling it over from Japan to
Mhm,
the US or to the Europe. So do you know the Book of Madura that you have to get
mhm.
that like stuff that was
That
originally
frustrated me for so long.
uh-huh. That was originally, depicted as a Bible in, like, the Japanese version, so that was a
Oh.
little intense. And then in the sanctuary, they did it very much like a Christian-style church, but then they had to, like, remove all that kinda stuff, so, like, they were
Did
totally
they put
fine.
Quasimodo in there? And he was like, "Sanctuary!"
That is a deep Disney cut that I don't know, but I'm glad that you did that. And
Okay.
then one of the key components, last fact, is on the Dark World. So, that was a they wanted to have a really big expansive game, but there was like a way the only way to really do that was to kind of use
The
the
same
main
map.
world, the same map effectively so that they had enough memory to be able to do that. So it gave them twice as much content on one cartridge. And they just had to like change some of the tile sets and stuff. So it was kind of like, it
And
was
a
a little
couple
bit
of,
of
like, images and
necessity,
stuff,
but
yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
sprites and all that.
Definitely, definitely.
I hated how the Dark World I would get hit, like, one time, and it'd take away, like, half my hearts.
It was really hard. Yeah. It's one of yeah, it's definitely I mean, it's so let's break it down here, Mike.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I have here, what still works with this
Okay.
game,
Mhm.
and I think the foundation of Zelda, uh,
Yeah.
this is where the formula really locks in, right? So it's just it's like you have an open world, free to explore,
Yeah.
go figure things out on your own, and, yeah, so that
Mhm.
works, and it can be enjoyable, and sometimes it can be frustrating. But that always works, so that works. The light dark world mechanic is still genuinely cool. It's like that
Mhm.
is I thought that was really smart. I I I felt dumb when I figured out I was like, "Oh, I have to go back to the light world." I thought I was like, "Okay, I finished the light world. Now I have to finish the dark world." And
Ah,
so I
okay.
didn't realize I was
Interesting.
supposed to be going back and forth, and then I figured it out. And then
Right, okay.
but it's just some of the clues weren't I wanted some more obvious stuff, but I guess I'm used to hand holding these days with games. And then the music and atmosphere holds up surprisingly well.
Mhm.
Some of the music I had to mute, like the main part, because it kind of just got annoying after a while.
It does a little bit,
But
yeah.
but when when going into different places, I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Especially my favorite's the fairy music, of course. It's like that peaceful
Bling, bling, bling,
sound.
bling, 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 bling.
So
Yeah,
that
that's really
works.
good. I like
The sense of adventure is still there.
uh-huh.
That's how I justify my higher rating than I wanted to give it.
So picking up on a few things, I think you're right. The notion of the, like, I agree with you on the light and dark world. Like, I remember the first time I ever played it, like, that was the big reveal back in the
Mhm.
day. Like, every you get your first 3 pendants and you're like, "Okay,
You're like, "Did
gonna
I
go
beat
fight the
it?"
boss," or whatever, right? Yeah. And then obviously it kind of completely opens up the game in a much bigger way, much bigger than people could, have imagined, I think, at the time. But you're absolutely right. It doesn't signpost or flag or give you any clues that really help you kinda just figure your way around, right? That in this game, you could get lost and end up just, like, wandering around looking for something or looking for a place
And
and going
forgetting you
like,
have the grapple hook. You're like, "Oh, this can actually attach to skulls? What?"
yes, yeah, exactly, right? The game doesn't give you enough clues to say, like, "Make sure you know that you can attach this to a skull because you get it in an environment where you're not attaching it to skulls. So in that dark world, where that bridge is gone and you have to use it to get to the other side because there's
Oh,
like a whole
yeah.
wall that you can't get over, right? There's just that one way to get
Mhm.
across for a while until you kind of get, the power glove and you can open up more paths and stuff. Like, it just felt that it was a little bit more obtuse than it should have been, you know? It kind of was annoying rather than, like,
Old school,
discovery.
obtuse.
Old school obtuse, yeah. And, yeah, I guess in one camp when, we were playing it back in the day, like, I can absolutely understand why people were obsessed with this game and loved it as much as they do and kind of it ranks so high. But when I'm playing it now, I did feel a lot. I was like, this bit of game design for me doesn't hold up, and it just I know how to play it because 'cause I've played it so many times, but, like, just like you've
Mhm.
never played it before, and you're sat there going like, "Well, this isn't great." Like, at least in Zelda 1, you could figure it out, right? It wasn't so big and so dense of a map and so many different areas to go to. You could at least, after a while of just walking around for a bit, you discover that stuff. It was, yeah, yeah, I think it I really kinda wish you woulda used a guide earlier because all that kind of walking around and stuff possibly could have changed your view when we finally get to scores, but, um, yeah, not
Maybe.
doesn't hold up as well for me in that way.
Okay. Well,
Um, go
what,
on.
mechanic-wise, is
Mhm.
that your next thing? Is that one of the
Yeah, we'll
things?
jump around wherever we wanna go. Yeah, go for it.
I wanna talk about mechanics. I hate the start menu. I hated the start menu in Zelda 1 and 2, and I hate the start menu in Zelda: Link to the
Vroom,
Past.
vroom,
It's
vroom,
yes, that
vroom. Yeah,
first of all, that as well, but also
yeah.
it's not like, if I hit up, I wanna go it doesn't you have to go, like, side to side or whatever, and it wasn't and then if you get stuck into the fairy bottles or whatever, you're like, "Oh, I'm stuck in the" like, I couldn't I was like, "How do I get out of these fairy bottles?" I was
Oh,
kept on going
yes,
up
yes,
and
yes, yes,
down.
yes. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
finally I
yeah,
was like, "Why is this not
yeah.
so" I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like it wasn't intuitive with the start menu controls.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of it was annoying me that you would select the thing you wanted, like, I feel like if they woulda just programmed it to hit the A button when you select it instead of, like, just hovering over
Right.
it and then hitting
Yeah.
start again to go back out, that was annoying me
Mhm.
'cause I still even after hours of playing it, that still never clicked for me, and I kept on
Mhm.
trying to hit A
Mhm.
to activate my cape so I can fly around this thing and, use all my magic up and just get out of this area where I was in. And then, but yeah, so, that was gameplay, but other than that,
On
I thought the gameplay itself was fine with, using the items, like fighting and stuff. Yeah, that's fine. No, the controls were fine.
I think, on like the start screen and item select thing, one of the things that like I agree with you on everything you said, nothing to add there. But what I found really weird was they for some reason they were like putting the overworld map with X, right?
Yeah,
So like why didn't that just become an item user like thing where you could just
like, why
store
couldn't I
another
just
item there,
select
right?
they like, selected nothing, didn't it?
I don't think it did. Yeah.
Or
So
they
it's
coulda just
just
put the map in the start menu and I coulda selected it or
or
something.
something like that, right? I mean, I love the way the map looked. Like they were definitely leaning into the mode 7 and kind of showing off sprite
Mhm.
scaling and all that kind of magic stuff the Super NES was kind of known for. But it it almost wasn't helpful because like you'd push X and then you'd have to like scroll around, but you couldn't really see anything on it. So you had to push X twice, and then you
And then you
finally
couldn't
got
go
the
back
map that
in.
was helpful, right? So you had to keep cycling through that.
Yeah.
They were just showing off the graphics and stuff, but like yeah, that was really annoying. I'd rather they would have used that button for an item so you could store like you could have bombs on one sword and then switch other
That would
ones
have
or
been
whatever, right?
nice.
Yeah. Um,
That would've been really
and then on
nice.
the combat, what I found, oh, I actually really like the combat in this game, and I think the use we talked in our review of the first Zelda and the second Zelda, just being able to, like, only do the sword forward was really, like, disempowering, I think, and the fact that, Zelda only moved on a cardinal direction, like, it was never or yeah, Link only moved on a cardinal direction, it was never
Yeah.
really like a sort of 360 space. And then even in Zelda 2, it was even more of a dinky sword. Oh, I hate that game so much. But this one, I genuinely felt like they kind of like cracked open the combat mechanics, and Link felt like a real badass in this sense. Like just even having the sword be able to go diagonal, but they also increased the way that the enemies fought as well, because the enemies were so fast. I just
They're
even those
so
little like
fast.
soldiers were fast. I kept finding like getting caught like in stuff, and I liked it. I felt like at least I felt that they empowered Link enough with his sword to be able to like maneuver around them fast enough. So you just learned to get a little bit better, and I kind of enjoyed that. I mean, you touched on it earlier,
I
like
liked his
having it
walk.
overall I was gonna say that, yeah, having the like, just enemies always on the screen all the time was actually kind of exhausting sometimes, but, yeah, the animation of his walk on the sides and his, like, little hat going around was really
In
cool
this
too.
one, I felt like they repopulated, like like, all the way all the time, like, if I killed them and I go
Mhm.
back, there it is there again, and,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
They
thieves were
respawned all
annoying
the time.
too. They
Oh, the
respond too
ones in the
much, they
wood?
should have been less responsive.
Yeah, I don't know, but they looked good. I love the graffics of
The
it, like you
graphics
said.
were really
They look
nice.
they hold up so well.
I
I
could
feel
tell
like
what
this
everything
game.
is.
Yeah, it just it I didn't mind running around and going to all the different areas, and, kind of and all the sprite work. It's such good sprite work. It still holds up to this day. It's classic, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Um,
It
eh
was nice, like, especially in, like, the, Lost Woods or whatever it's called,
Mhm,
and all those little, squirrels and animals running
mhm.
when you're trying to
Yeah,
get your master sword, and that was
yeah.
kinda cute, and yeah, I enjoyed it. That was nice.
Uh, this is the first game where it's actually called the Master Sword, because in the
Ah,
other ones,
yeah.
it was just a sword, but this one is where they kind of established the lore of it being like, only the one who gets the 3 pendants can use it, which has been, now around for everything. Um, uh, yeah, you mentioned the dungeons and not being able to kinda
Mhm.
get around those in the way. Did you find that, like, for all the dungeons, was that the thing?
No, um, but the dungeons were, m much more that was saying much more massive in this one
Yeah.
compared to
Mhm.
others, and, yeah, I don't like but the worst thing I'm just a complainer. The worst thing
It's okay, complain about it, have an
this
opinion, that's great.
mechanic, it was also in number 2 as well, is you have to fall sometimes in order to get to where you need to go,
Oh, yeah,
and there
yeah.
was even like a bombable floor area, and you
Mhm.
would bomb it, and then it would go ding 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 ding, like one of those good things, like a positive thing, like you did a
Yeah,
good job, you found a secret. And then go to fall down the hole, and like, "Nah," it takes away a heart and puts me back at this. I'm like, why would you make a good sound for something that's going to kill me?
yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I hate you. And then I'm like scared to fall. And then what took me forever to
Mhm.
figure it out was on one of the dungeons in the Dark World, first dungeon in Dark World I went to, was I didn't know I had to fall to get to where I needed to go because
Mhm.
I fell on
Mhm.
another part and I died or something. And so, anyway, I don't
Yeah,
like the falling through things. Unless there was a sign or something that say leap of faith or something, then I'd be like, "Oh, I have to fall," like,
yeah.
but
I can't remember if there was, like I feel so I think in each of the dungeons, there's, like you find a, like, one of those, like, tele tele
Teletubby?
telescope Teletubby. Could you imagine? What are the Teletubbies' names?
I don't want
Um,
to
I can't remember, I can't
I know,
remember.
I don't wanna say
I
it.
never really watched them, they're the creepiest things in the world. No, I don't wanna do it, don't wanna do it. But there's, like, the boxes you would go to with the triangle, and you would, like, get telekinetic, like, messages from people, right?
Yes.
I feel like in each of the dungeons, there was something, like, built in that wasn't, like, that you would find, but you didn't always have to find it, so you were, kind of like you could miss a clue. Um, but
Mm.
again, that's like that point that you just raised is that there's not this obvious, you know, sign that just says maybe it's okay to fall or trust to fall or something like that for you to put those pieces together. Um, and the only way that you do learn to do that is either you do it on accident, right? Which you're
Mhm.
trying to avoid most of the time, or you learn to read the language of the game, the visual language, because the ones where you could fall had like they did that kind of background on it that looked like there was something down there. I don't know if you noticed that, but there's like
I don't think I noticed that.
if you go back and look at it, the ones where you can fall down, it's not pitch black. It's got like this like almost like you can see the ground below it. So they're trying to give you some like visual signals that you can go
Okay.
down there, but like why would anybody, because we've been taught all of our, gaming lives, don't fall into a pit. Why would you think then like, "Oh yeah, let me just jump into this pit," right? It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. I think the I think the thing about the dungeons for me in this game were that they they I actually really liked them quite a lot. I found their complexity like really fun to figure out. And granted, I did use a guide when I got stuck, but I was pretty good this time where I was like, I only looked at it when I really felt like I tried my best to figure it out. And then I was just getting annoyed and I'd be like, well, I don't want to play the game annoyed. I want to have fun. Like, so just show me the next thing to do. And
Mhm.
oftentimes the things that I needed to do were things like, oh, like how would I have ever known to do that unless I looked up a guide? But I think the dungeons in this one for me were the real standout, and I think this is one of the problems I have with the early Zelda games, is that they are largely a game of two halves. It is largely a game of figure out the puzzle in the overworld and then go down into a dungeon, and then go back up to the overworld and go down into a dungeon.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine, but in some way, like the overworld in A Link to the Past, it was more just a vehicle to get me to the next part or to find the next dungeon. It wasn't really like an overworld that was like worth walking around in all that time, you know? Like
Yeah, like,
it,
this game was just about dungeons,
I
in a
think
way.
so. Yeah. I mean, it was
Like, the
nice to go,
overworld didn't have like, I would go back to my house sometimes just to get
but for
those 3
what?
hearts
Yeah,
out of my
exactly.
room because I needed hearts, and then, uh
Mhm.
yeah, so I don't mind puzzles, but I do mind wandering aimlessly because the game won't communicate with me,
Exactly.
and that
Yeah.
was my biggest quip with this.
Mhm. Yeah.
And, like, I love puzzles, but I'm just wandering around and I'm like, "I don't know what to do." Ugh.
Mhm. Like one of those examples is I think we were messaging about this around there are ways that you can get like trapped in the dark world and you can't, or
I
you can
got
be
trapped.
trapped in the light world or the dark world and you can't use your mirror to get out, right? Because it's like you've put it somewhere. Yes. It's because you go from the light world to the dark world that has that little shiny sparkly thing and you're
Or
supposed
vice
to hit back
versa,
that
yeah.
to go back, right?
Yeah.
But there are instances in the game where you will put that down and then you have to go somewhere else and actually getting back to that for some reason doesn't work out. But what they did do, and
Is
I
add
was
little
explaining that to you. I was
portals.
like, yeah, I was like, you have to go find those portals. And you're like,
Then there's something
what?
else for me to find.
What? Why? Where are these portals? And it's,
I
there
was like,
isn't
the only
anything.
one I know of is in that Death Mountain or whatever it's called,
Uh-huh.
and so I'll go all the way back up there, or I would just basically save the game, quit, and then
Mm,
reopen it and say, "Oh, I want to start at the mountain or whatever," and then climb all the way
yes.
back up to get to the dark world, and then I
Yeah.
figured out more. But yeah, so one thing what really sucks is that I wish it would prompt me
Hmm.
before saying, "Are you going to jump?" Because I would be, like, on the edge, like, on a mountain and jumping into the water, for example, and
Uh-huh.
now that I can swim, I just don't get put back up when I make a mistake and jump. So,
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
I transported back to the light world just to get a heart piece because I remember that's, like, the island or whatever, and then I
Yeah.
accidentally jumped into the water. I was like, "No, I can't get back up on that island now because that's where my mirror was." But I was so mad I didn't do a
Yep.
save state or something, and I'm like, "Ugh." Okay, well, here I go. Gotta go
It
back to the
does
mountain.
it's definitely as you what was the word you like, old school obtuse, is that what you said? Like,
Old
it
school, obscure
obscure, yeah, and it's also
or
old school,
obtuse, whatever.
it's yeah, either one. They're cousins, I suppose, obtuse and obscure.
It's
Um,
obscure.
oh my god, I just had, like, a panic attack of, like, trying to being a spelling bee, and they'd be like, "Spell obtuse," and I'd be like, "Oh, good." I didn't know why that was a that never even happened to me, but I could imagine. The but this that's an old school bit of game design, right? Where it's like, "Oh, ha, 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 you've, like, fallen off, and now you've gotta, like,
Go
either go
all the
through all these
way.
steps to figure it out." It's like, that's not cool. Like, it's not
Yeah,
it's irritating. It's really
the
irritating.
game is not hard in a satisfying way for me. It was
Yeah.
hard in a "this was designed in 1991" kind of way.
Mhm,
Like, I was like, "Oh
mhm.
my god."
Yeah. Yeah, and I know, and through my nostalgia glasses and my love for the series, it's I
Mhm.
have to remember sometimes to, like, keep that critical hat on because that, it it doesn't it doesn't yeah, it makes a lot of mistakes, I think, as we're pointing out. Just picking up on the dungeons, real a bit more, I loved one of the elements that they introduced in this game that they've done in, like, subsequent games is where you have to start in one area. So this is like the skull dungeons in the woods when you're in the dark world and, where the thieves were. Sorry, your favorite. But, like, you would have to go, like, into one bit of the dungeon, and then you would go through the dungeon, you'd come out in another part of the forest. So it was like you were not just in the dungeon going through floors, they were having you, like, actually go out into the overworld and then connecting the dots through that way and finding hidden ways to get into the dungeon through that. I just thought that was a really clever way to kind of try and make the worlds connect a little bit more, and I just wish there was kind of more of that stuff,
Yeah.
uh, and not to get ahead of, like, games that we'll talk about, like, some games in the down the line, like, Link's Awakening and Ocarina of Time, but it was, like, the first kernel, I think, where they were trying to go, "Oh, you don't have to just the world can be more connected and you can fight a big battle in the overworld which might get you an item, but this one was still very much like, oh no, you have to get these things in the dungeons and you have to kind of do it all there and then take them out and use them, whereas I think in later games they started to kind of break that break that setup so it made it feel like the world was more organic, I suppose, rather than is a world of two halves like we said.
Yeah, that's a good way to
Hmm. Yeah.
explain it.
And if I never have to play that ice dungeon again, I swear to God, I will be so happy. That was the worst design dungeon ever. Oh,
The
that
ice
like,
one, you got
yes,
slipping and sliding?
slipping and sliding, and then also like having to like fall down in certain ways so that you could then get into other areas. I was just like, this is horrible. I freaking hated
I
every
was
second of
over
the ice
that so
dungeon.
much. I was
Oh,
looking online to see if there was a save state I can download that was already that beat that dungeon, so I can just install that into my game and start from there.
it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. It was just
Les Mis.
it was horrible, absolutely horrible. But the Skulls Woods is my favorite dungeon of them all, and the Ice Palace was like the worst of them all.
Yeah.
Do you, Mike, have a favorite item that you got in this game that you
That
loved
cape,
using?
except that the magic didn't last long enough. That cape was amazing.
What, the invisible cape?
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, I also like the fire wand.
Yeah.
I liked those magic things, I don't know what they're called, the little orb things. Um
Medallions
Huh?
that did all the
Medallions?
thingies on the screen?
Yeah, medallions, and
Yeah. Yep.
that came in clutch at some points.
Totally cool.
Um, I liked my favorite item was finding a new heart.
Because you needed it.
'Cause
Yeah.
I needed life so
Yeah.
badly. Actually, I love the bottles, and I loved keeping a bunch of fairies in there because
Mhm.
I would go through one dungeon, well, especially
Yeah.
just the boss, and I would use every single fairy, and here I am watching a walkthrough, and he doesn't get hit one time. I'm like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "Do
Some
you are you
people
playing on slow-mo? Like, is there a way you can set up your game to play on super slow motion so you can move and avoid things and hit and then when you publish your walkthrough, is it like you just speed up the speed so you can looks like you're playing faster, better?
I I think that people are just that good at some of these games, and that's just another reason why the internet has only been designed and made to make me feel like a piece of shit. Because, people are just really good at video games and I'll never be that good, or, everybody's a fucking model and I'm never gonna be that attractive. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, my life's not good. So that's why I stay off the internet.
That's why I stay off the interwebs.
So I stay off. I love, I don't know if I love them. I had fun using them, the Pegasus boots,
Oh, yeah.
when you would go into it. I don't know, I just like that mechanic, I thought it was really fun. But one of the, like, kind of like, haha, like, gotcha moments with the Pegasus boots is when you would, like,
Hit a
do it
wall?
down a dash of, no, well, the wall,
Oh,
oh, yeah. Oh, that's true, if it was, like, just off an angle and then he would fall back. But more, when you would go down, like, a long row of trees that you wanted to cut to, like, just get rid of them, but then there would be, like, a bomb in there or, like, a bee in there or something,
or
and you would just,
sometimes,
like
like, some random soldier is hiding in the
yes!
bush. I'm like, "What are you doing in there?"
I know what was going on in that bush. Oh,
He was
oh,
taking a leak.
he hey, soldiers gotta go and a soldier gotta go, Gotta
Evil
happen.
soldier.
And then yeah, I think the hook shot too was one of my favorites because it just, like, it just created a whole different way of, like, exploring the map, which I
That
thought
was
was
one of
just
my
super
favorite
fun.
boss battles, where
Yeah.
you had to use the hook shot to grab, like, I don't know what they were, like
The
little
orbs or
clouds off of
eyes or
him,
whatever.
and
Yeah.
then you had to hit them. That's how I hit.
Mhm.
And then you grab another one, that was one of my favorite boss battles. I really enjoyed that
Yeah.
one, and that was my 10 out of 10 moment on this game.
Yeah, that one's in the Swamp Palace. Yeah, where
Mhm,
you get the hook shot.
mhm.
Oh gosh, if I had to have a favorite boss battle, I mm, I I I think probably it was the I think it was the fight with Ganon at the end.
Really?
I just thought it was a
He
lot of
wasn't so
fun.
satisfying to, like I didn't ever feel satisfied.
No,
I'm
not
satisfied
with
now that we're moving on to my
to put this
favorite game.
game to put this game away. No, I thought Ganon was, for boss battles, I thought it was really good. I loved I love the start of it when you were fighting, like, the wizard and then you lost and then Ganon
How do you
shows
say the
up,
wizard's
right?
name?
I Argoham, Argam
They just
again.
literally I think what they did was on the keyboard, just kinda like just hit buttons like under the A, just like the middle
I
row.
I have no idea. Aghanim, I think is what it is.
I always just called
Listeners, if you know how to say it, can you phonetically spell it for us? I think it's Aghanim. I think it's Aghanim, but
Aghanim.
Um, yeah, I thought this one was a really great Ganon boss fight that, like, I just loved how, it required you to use all the different elements that you had, like,
Everything you've
even
learned and picked up.
yeah, everything. So, like, even if you ran out of magic or you wanted to use your lantern, you could use that to try and light the things real quick to,
Mhm.
like, make them glow up, or it just gave the player a lot of agencies in a way to try to fight him and beat him. It wasn't that he was hard, but it was just that I just felt it for me, I loved the kind of climax of it all and, like, feeling like, "Oh, yeah, I finally got red. Is it red? What was the color of thing that made you really strong? Was it a red suit that you finally get? I think it was red.
Uh,
I don't know.
there was like a
Um,
bluish color too, or green. I'm colorblind, so I don't
I
know what
can't
color
tell.
these
I don't know
are.
what color it is. I can't
It's
remember.
like this small.
Mhm.
Look on my little
Um,
screen.
and and the way he would, like, throw it around.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. I just like that whole action. I thought it was really cool. Flipping it around and stuff like that. Oh, come on. Yeah, good boss fight. Good way to make it end, in my opinion. Um,
So, what
go on.
else did we wanna talk about on this game?
Let's have a look. We've been jumping around. We've done combat, we've done dungeons. I think what we haven't talked about is story, and I think this kind of goes back to
It
this
had a
feeling.
story,
Mm, I don't
more so
know.
than, like, I Am Error, um, but, uh,
I, I, I don't know. I don't think. No, I don't think it does have a story. I mean, but
the thing is, like, there were, like,
yeah.
Ganon's stuck in the dark world, and he's trying to get to the light world, but he doesn't
Sure.
understand or know how, and we can't let him get to the light world, is what the maidens kept on saying. And they're like, "Do you understand?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yes."
Uh,
Dude, what happens if I say no?
I think
She
so.
just
I'm
repeats
trying to
everything.
save you. Like, yeah, they're a little bit of aggressive. Like he
Yeah.
just saved them. Uh,
But I
I
mean, like,
mean,
I guess,
you know,
but why was he bad, and where does Zelda come in between all this? And
I, I it's it. Here's my problem with this is one of my problems with this game
mm,
is the story is only told after beats of finishing something, right? So, for
so you
example,
don't
you
know
go into a
why you're doing
dungeon.
it.
Yeah, you're kind of like, oh, go here because this weird old man told you to go
But
here. It's like, great.
all you know
Like,
the whole time is you're trying to save Zelda.
yes, you're trying to stop the destruction of the world. And I think that's fine. That's kind of all I need to know in a Zelda game
Mm,
sometimes. Like, don't try to fill in all these like weird gaps. But for this one, it's like you would go, you'd complete a dungeon, and then you'd get a little bit of something from this random character that they all looked the same, that had no connection to any of like the bigger context of the world. And so it just felt like I was like, well, what? Sure, you're telling me something I don't care about. I just need to go to another dungeon now, and I know I got to eventually get to Zelda. So I think if this going back to that point of like this feeling like game of two halves, if they would have made this story show up more in the overworld, right? Where maybe you
yeah.
discovered
Well, somebody
like,
did mention in the overworld, I don't remember who, but like my daughter was abducted or taken, right? I
yeah,
don't, something said,
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
said that at some
But
point.
it's only like one
She
time
was a
that you hear
maiden.
that, right? And
Yeah.
then you suddenly go, oh, all these maidens are gone. I mean, have been captured. So it didn't, couldn't it have been that like, oh, the witch where you go get the potion, like couldn't one of the maidens have been connected to her and been more of like a witch kind of maiden, right? So
Yeah.
or like couldn't have one of the Kakariko villages, like the woman who looks after the cuckoos, like she was really important or whatever. And so her, daughter was part of the war or something. I just felt like there needed to be more of that, like, why do we need to save all of Hyrule? Because and who are these maidens and why are they connected to it? They are obviously Zelda's maidens, I think, right?
Yeah.
But
And why
it
did my
just
uncle
yeah.
go and try to save Zelda in the beginning and then be like, "Never mind, you're here. Here, take my
Yeah.
sword. Take this.
He like
Bye."
sat down on the job.
He's
Like,
like,
what was
"Ah."
he doing when you
And
got
that
down there? He's like,
guy who
oh,
didn't wanna speak to you in the desert and then you steal his sign and he just chased you around. Didn't he eventually, give you a bottle or
I think
something?
so. I didn't do
Forgot
that
why
one. I
though.
don't remember that one.
Anyway, so
So I think, yeah, I think
story
it just
lacking,
definitely lacking, definitely lacking.
but more than Zelda 1.
But Zelda 1 didn't need, it didn't need a story. We were just like kind of jumped in and I I I think I think they like look, there's stuff that they started. Hold on, let me put it this way. A Link to the Past is, I think, a game that mechanically, as you said at the start, like really kind of solidified a lot of things about the Zelda formula that we know and love today, right?
Mhm.
Getting the Master Sword. Typically, there's two different types of worlds. So this one was the light and the dark world, and then there's like, the sky, and then the underground, and Tears of the Kingdom, right? All of these things have shown up quite a lot in the games. But then it gave us all the different like items that we know and love and get them in a dungeon, all that kind of good stuff. But it was also trying out new things in terms of telling story, which it just couldn't achieve very well. So it's like it perfected some things with the game, and then other things it was trying some stuff out that it just didn't really stick the landing with, that will work in other Zelda games going forward. So you kind of have to like try these things out and evolve, as game designers and the series and all that stuff. But for me, it didn't. It's a game where I go, yeah, I'm just happy to play it because I like the challenges and the fighting and the combat and the dungeons and the puzzles. But like, do I know anything about what happens in this game? No, I just know I go get a few things and then I fight and then Zelda's okay. Like it. Why am I invested in this beyond just liking Zelda? Um, which I hadn't really thought about when I played it in the past. It's only this time, and maybe it's only I'm realizing this as we play them like back to back to back, which is quite interesting. So,
Yeah. Well,
mhm.
here's the important thing too, like do we judge old games by modern standards? Because clearly I am,
Yeah.
but is that fair? Um, you know,
What's the answer to your own question, Mike?
yes, because it needs to hold up, stand the test of time. No, I shouldn't judge it by modern standards. Like, for example, I'm gonna give you my rating. I gave it a 7 out of 10, and that's
Okay.
because I respect it and I
Mhm.
see why
Mhm.
it's important. But
Yeah.
playing it today, it felt more frustrating than fun at times. And
Yeah.
once I needed a guide, it kind of lost that magic for me. Like every time
Yeah.
I got stuck, it killed the momentum I had going, and that adds up over
Mhm.
throughout the whole playthrough.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do respect it. I do see without this game even existing, we wouldn't be getting other great games that we have
Yeah.
now. And but yeah, so do we judge old games by modern standards, or should we? Because I mean, I'm obviously am judging it that way
Oh, yeah. I think it's kind of impossible to
to
not,
not.
though. And I think we're, in our shoes, like, we're, older gamers, right? Who, like, have the benefit of playing a lot of these games when they originally came out and can, like, you know, see how they've, we've had the lived experience with them all.
Hmm.
If I was a new gamer, and I picked this up, I would almost go like, "Oh, that's a cute thing from the past," right? I don't necessarily think I want to, like, fight to understand it in the way that, you've talked about your experience has been. And so I think, to try and answer the question, I would say I I'm doing my best to play the game from my experience right now, right? I can talk about it with a lot of the nostalgia and love for the game, because there's, like, my rating, if you would have asked me back in the day, there's part of me that would give it a 10 out of 10, right?
Hmm.
Completely, just because I'm obsessed with Zelda, the game series, and I think Nintendo can do no wrong. So I've got all of that kind of thingy. But playing it today, I've given it an 8, because I think it's still, like, a really solid game. There's a lot to be enjoyed. There is a, there is, it still looks really good. It still plays really well. Yes, it's difficult in the way that we've talked about, and some of the things are obtuse, but uh, I think a lot of games have that in a way, and uh, it's difficult for me to, like, go, I don't want a game to tell me where to go every time, because then that's no fun.
But
Then
can
the
you tell
game's
me
just
one time?
can you tell me one time? That's the point, right? Like, just tell me a little bit more. And I think that's where this game falls down for me, is that it doesn't clearly outline to the player for how to
Yeah,
figure it out. And there was just a lot of times
I
where you
get
go
it.
like, well, this isn't fun. I need to look up a guide, like you said. Yeah, and it ruins that magic. You hit it on the head, Mike. It ruins that magic when you're like, oh, I really
Like, would this
want to
game
figure this
still
out.
be legendary if it was released today exactly as is? No.
No, it would definitely be something that would go on an indie shelf, and people are like, oh, that's a neat little thing
That
you've
was a
done
fun
there. But
download
yeah,
that
uh-huh.
I will never finish or figure out.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but, like, I think A Link to the Past walked so modern Zelda could run, but I'd rather play games that learn from it than this one again,
Yeah, yeah.
if that's
Uh,
fair.
I'm happy to always go back and play it. I do it every couple of years, because it's just that, it's, for me, it's like, it's a really important game in terms of formulating my understanding of how to play a game,
Mhm.
because it was like, it came out, when did it come out? In 91, I think. I would have been 11 at the time, 10 or 11. So I was, like, really kind of understanding that games aren't just like Mario anymore, right? I was starting to understand that there's, like, all these different
There's
ways to kind
depth
of think
to
about,
them.
yeah, all that kind of stuff. And at the time, as kids, like, we had all the time in the world just to kind of, like, "Oh, I'll just walk around this world and figure stuff out." And the
We
world
really
felt
did have a
really
lot of
big,
time.
and the world felt really expansive, and, like, graphically, it was just neat to see all the stuff.
And, yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
also, like, that, sense of wonder
Mm.
because you'd see a house and you're like, "Oh, I can go in these houses and people
Yes.
live there? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, they have little lives and stories to tell," and
Mhm.
so and you kinda make up those stories in your head.
Yeah.
Apparently, though, A Link to the Past is a prequel to the first Legend of Zelda, right?
Oh, I do not know that.
I
I don't
thought
know about that.
mm,
In terms of the
because
story?
isn't that's why it's called A Link to the Past? I don't know. And,
Maybe. I don't know that one.
I could be wrong. My timeline I don't have my timeline up. But, yeah, I thought it
The
was a
most accurate
prequel.
timeline ever?
Yes.
You thought so you think it's a prequel? Hold on, let's just Google this while we're here.
Sorry, my dog is, bored.
Well, from yes, it says Zelda: Link to the Past is a prequel to the original, and it serves as a distant origin story for Ganondorf's transformation. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So it goes back to, but see again, like like why does that like it does like in this story of like having conversations about video games and geeking out about the canon of Zelda, that's really cool to know. But in terms of like the built into this game, it didn't even show up in that way, right? I'm just going like, well, I didn't know that. I would have never put two and two together of that being a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe they didn't really even develop this canon or this know it was a prequel until after they just kept on, like, shitting out games, and we're like, "Okay, let's kinda, like, let's stitch it together now."
That's kind of what they did. I mean, there is articles about the Nintendo doesn't really care about the lore. I think they have just enough to kind of keep us interested, but they're not beholden to it. They'll do whatever they want and not really need to have to explain it, which I think is kind of good because I think then it allows like fun conversation about what is and what isn't. But who knows? That timeline's impossible to know. Um, any other thoughts on Zelda: A Link to the Past, Mike?
I no, I think it's an amazing game. 10 out of 10.
You say through gritted teeth. All right.
10 out
Well,
of
there
10.
you have it, folks. That is our breakdown on the playthrough of A Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, a prequel. If you didn't know, which I just found out, every day is a school day in Zelda world. Hey, did you play Zelda: A Link to the Past recently? Have you played it when you were younger? Let us know in your thoughts about everything we talked about. What's your opinion on Zelda? What would you score it, Zelda: A Link to the Past? And get ready to move on to the next game because we are playing The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, this seminal masterpiece
I think I like
from the
this
Game
one a
Boy.
lot. It's my favorite.
Yeah, definitely, definitely a great one to play. Looking forward to talk about that. Yeah, and then yeah, if you have any questions for us about questions you have about any of the Zelda games, you can email them to us at gamers@outofsyncgaming.co.uk. Again, that's gamers at outofsyncgaming.co.uk. It doesn't have to be just about Zelda. It can be about anything. Any questions you want to have that you want us
Yeah,
to
because we
talk
know
about.
everything about the Zelda. So, like, ask us your questions. We will tell you the answers.
Or we'll make it up. We'll make some bullshit up and we will pretend like we
Yes,
know.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. So send any questions into gamers at Out of Sync Gaming and we'll read those on a future episode. Mike, where can people find us on socials?
You can search for us at Out of Sync Gaming on Instagram, TikTok, Discord, and Blue Sky.
Absolutely. Come hang out with us there. Say hello, say what's up, and we'll look forward to making those connections. Some things coming down the line. We are continuing our series on Sink into the Dream, our playthrough of Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream,
Tomodachi.
where Tomodachi, where we build the Out of Sync Island, build our Miis, and just general chaos. So come and join us. Look out for those live streams. We will let you know when they're happening on the YouTube channel. And join us for the live stream and tell us what Mii's to make. Who do you want us to be on the island? Come give
Yeah.
us some thoughts. We'll make them and we'll pop them in there. Uh, and then I think that's everything for now, Mike. Is there anything else we should have said? Like and subscribe.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget. That's important.
Definitely like and subscribe. And also, if you're willing, leave us a review on any of the places where you listen to podcasts. That really helps as well. Share it with your friends. Get the word out there. Out of Sync's a nice little place to hang out and hear us talk about video games. We'd really appreciate it. And thank you to all the subscribers and viewers.
And we
We
don't
really
have to
appreciate.
agree either. It's
No.
okay. We can still be friends.
Yes, we can. We can all be friends. Yes, even if we disagree. Even if, and you're saying that because most people are going to come for you for giving Zelda: A Link to the Past a
I
7.
gave it a 7. That is good. I didn't give it the what I give Zelda 2 a 4.
Oh, I hated
I
that
gave it a
game.
2 out of 5 actually.
Oh, I
Because I
gave
didn't
it
want to give it like I didn't want to I didn't deserve a 10
oh,
scale rating.
on that note, if you want to listen to our few reviews of Zelda, The Legend of Zelda and Legend of Zelda 2, you can do that on the episodes. We'll put those links down below. But I guess that's everything for now. So until next time,
Play what you want to.
bye.
Bye.